Welcome to the Organic Matrix. I'm your host, Sam Aiko, and today we'll be revisiting a clip from Randy's episode on the podcast, starting over at 61.
I noticed that a lot of women freeze up and then they end up building resentment toward the situation, and it might have been innocent and it could have avoided developing into some kind of trauma if women were taught on how to ask for respect and place boundaries. I feel like that's not spoken about enough, because even though I was raised by a woman, I was given rules don't let someone touch you inappropriately, and I'm glad I learned that lesson early, but I didn't have a lesson on how to politely assert myself, and it became in the future of when I would notice I was getting treated some way, I didn't know how to meet that problem. And civilly, it would just end up me raising my voice, and that doesn't really get the message across. And I learned throughout the years that the only way to make the world a better place and to teach people how to treat others is by teaching people why it matters and giving perspective. And it's impossible to give somebody perspective and being a part of their growth when we are aggressive toward them, even if we're offended, because half the time people don't offend each other on purpose. There's always something lost in translation. So.
That is so true. And it's, and then when you do, insult somebody, without, trying, or, then they close up. They're either going to get mad or they're going to clam up, and they're not going to, show their emotions what they're going to, then the whole learning process just, went away. Because once you clam up, you're trying to think of a way out of the situation instead of trying to better the situation.
If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Realize that it takes more than awareness to de-escalate a situation, especially when feelings are hurt. Have you ever gotten upset with somebody and wondered, how can you get back at them? To be transparent, I've had many moments like that. And I recently noticed that the tendency of wanting revenge can ruin our relationships and ruin our reputation. And there's not a lot of good that comes out of it. We end up burning bridges and hurting people that we actually care about when we have vengeful thoughts and actions. With that being said, I thought it was necessary to do some personal research on de-escalation techniques, and during that time, I thought it would be great to share it with you guys. So here are 4 steps to de-escalating a disagreement. Step number 1, try to find compassion for the other person's perspective. Now, this is super challenging, especially if you feel triggered, and I could relate to that too. The goal here is to ask yourself questions. I feel like questions even divert people who are on a destructive path, because a lot of the times when we're doing destructive things, it's when we're not thinking, it's when we're reacting. So when you're confronted with an uncomfortable situation and somebody's confronting you, let's ask ourselves, what's going on and what are they perceiving? And how can we appreciate their perspective in a way that we don't have the same one? How can we appreciate the differences and give that attention? Step number 2, ask open-ended questions. Instead of just asking what they're mad about, let's ask them why they're upset and how we can make it better. Let's focus on solutions. Step number 3, listen to understand, not to respond. Now, I know it sounds like common sense to have this quality, but even I have a past of being guilty for this habit. If you have a habit of interrupting people when you get excited or when you come up with a response to what they're saying, that's exactly what we're highlighting in this behavior. And I recommend trying to cut down on that habit, because the people we're going to build best relationships with are the people that feel heard and understood by us. And the only way to do that is by lending an open ear. When somebody's upset, it might be our instinct to get back at them and make matters hotter. But what we can do for that other person is find out why they're upset, why are they so triggered, and what can we do about it? How can we make it better? Because honestly, nobody likes being upset, and frustration is a very frustrating emotion. So let's try to be there hand in hand with each other, walking each other home instead of trying to break each other down. Step number 4, be respectful. Be respectful in the sense that your responses matter. Even though we might be being confronted by somebody about a situation that might give us shame or embarrassment, or even if we're being accused of something that we're not even guilty at all, we want to avoid responding with a dismissive tone or a condescending tone, because the other person's emotions and feelings and perceptions are valid to them. It's a truth for them. So we have to take that into consideration. Our truths are real to us, and everybody else's truths are real to them. So if they're genuinely upset, something's bothering them. And if they're telling you, it's because they care about you and they want to make it better. Usually when people don't care about you and something makes them unhappy, they just abandon you. So it's better to see the positives in the confrontation instead of letting it get to our egos where it becomes something rotten when it can be something beautiful. I hope these 4 steps help you in your relationships, because so far it is giving me more peace to see the other options I have when I react to these things. Our goal as thought leaders is to model peace in our community. And these 4 steps is just the beginning. If you found these tips helpful and you want to make up with a loved one, I challenge you to tag them in this post, share it to them. This video is sponsored by Bulk Supplements. If you're looking for clean supplements with no fillers, check out our affiliate link in the description below. All Organic Matrix members will be gifted 12% off their purchases with the discount code Organic Matrix. Stay safe, stay calm, and I'll see you on the next download. And if you have any thoughts, suggestions, or ideas, send us a tweet at organic_matrix.